Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on our main news bulletin this evening. Let's go straight and look at the stories that are making headlines. Politicians urged not to play victim when they break the law. Neighbors to slain Alex Zulu described the relationship between the couple as toxic. Patients call for a more efficient NIMA. In international news, Nigerians react to ECOWAS plan for Niger. And in sports news, Buffaloes drawn against double action in COSAFA's Women's Championship League. My name is Sylvia Zulu. Do join me with the details shortly.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RainGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
And now the news in detail. Traders conducting their business in front of the University Teaching Hospital, UTH, are at risk of contracting waterborne diseases due to sewage overflows. A check by Camnet TV News found the effluent is flowing from the Children's Hospital up to UTH Adults Hospital in front of the newly constructed car park. One of the concerned traders, Frank Chungu, has bemoaned the failure by authorities to address the problem. Details in this report.
Here lies the main entrance to the country's biggest hospital, the University Teaching Hospital, UTH. The drainage is overflowing the sewage as patients, students, staff and visitors go on with their business. This undoubtedly poses a risk for people to contract waterborne diseases, as there are restaurants selling food and other traders selling groceries, vegetables and fruits. According to the traders, the effluent has been left unabated for some time now and blame UTH management for failing to address the situation.
This sewer, the UTH management, they have failed it. They are saying they have to be in cooperation with the Lusaka City Council, the Lusaka Water and Sewerage. That's the thing. The last time they came in Tuareg looking about the same issue over the sewer issue. But there is nothing that is happening.
UTH management is, however, aware of the matter, which it says has been brought to the attention of the Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company, but nothing has been done about it.
So all the hospitals pour into that same sewer line. So they reported to the managing director, but nothing has been done about it. So it's Lusaka Water and Sewerage. So all the hospitals pour into that same sewer line. So it's coming from, where Lusaka College of Nursing is. So all the hospitals are pouring into it, but they've not come to do anything about it. So it's their issue.
Efforts to get a comment from the Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company proved futile at broadcast time, as the phone of its publications manager, Shamba Mzungu, was off. For now, this is the face of the country's biggest hospital, UTH. For Camnet News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
The National Water Supply and Sanitation Council says consultation are still ongoing on the revision of the water tariff. Various water utilities applied for an upward adjustment of the water tariffs to ensure their sustainability. NWASCO Chief Inspector Peter Mutale says a cost-efficient tariff has been approved and can only be effected to winding up consultation with all the key players in the water sector.
Essentially, when we are looking at a tariff for water, it's a cost-plus tariff. Whatever cost that the commercial utilities incur, they're supposed to recover it through the tariff. So if electricity tariffs go up, fuel prices go up, labor costs go up, chemicals, we also need to up the tariff so that the commercial utilities could cover those costs. Now, what I should mention to you is that from 2020, that's the time of COVID-19. So water became like a very crucial component in terms of fighting this COVID-19. Of course, we knew that we still needed resources for us to provide these services. And I think government was engaged and different corporate partners were engaged to help commercial entities during that difficult time. But of course, that is not a permanent solution because government can give grants, corporate partners can give that, but we still need a tariff. So what it is that there is a tariff that has been approved, but of course you can't implement any tariff without consulting all key stakeholders. So once all the key stakeholders are consulted, we are clear, we see who is going to be affected, and that once everything is agreed upon, then at that point we may say that let's have a new tariff.
In other news, neighbors to the allegedly murdered 51-year-old Alex ZULU have described the relationship between the couple as toxic. Mr. ZULU was murdered on 29 July 2023 by his 47-year-old wife, Mwila Kasase, director at the Ministry of Finance, and his two children aged 18 and 20 years after a marital dispute over a company car. Some of the neighbors spoken to by Camnet News have explained that the couple regularly engaged in marital dispute and that on the fateful day, the couple was heard fighting around 02 hours, which awoke most of the neighbors in the area. They explained that after the dispute, the deceased was seen driving out of the yard, but that he was not in a good condition. Details in this report.
Zambia has continued to witness horrific murder incidences from parents murdering their children to children murdering their parents and now to a wife with the help of her two sons murdering a husband. Police spokesperson Ray Hamonga, Wednesday 9th of August 2023, reported that police had arrested a 47-year-old woman identified as Mwila Kasase for allegedly murdering her husband, Alex ZULU, with the help of her two sons, aged 18 and 20 years of age, who have also been arrested. Camnet Television has followed up the matter, which led us to this house in Lusaka's Charleston area, where the horrific incident is alleged to have occurred. However, brother to the deceased refused to speak to this reporter, citing that the incident has left the family shocked and that every family member is still mourning and not ready to speak to the media. But some neighbors spoken to who sought anonymity have described the relationship between the couple as toxic and narrates what transpired on the fateful day.
So the fateful night when everything happened, there was a fight around 02. All neighbors came out actually. Most of us who were close by here. We came out and we saw what was happening. It's more like after him being beaten inside together with the kids, they were beating him. That's when he rushed, came outside here. Then the oldest son, seeing that neighbors were there, now he started more like stopping the mother from their sister fight. And she said all sort of things. So later on, the man drove off in the same outfits that brought confusion. He drove off and that's where everything happened. But the funny part or the sad part is that she lied to say the man was drunk and he just slept off the veranda. Then that's how he got a broken arm, which is not a fact. The truth is that he was beaten by the wife and the children there.
They add that the accused woman is a director at the Ministry of Finance and that the couple also has a 12-year-old female child who has been left with no family member.
For the wife, she never used to greet, not even the neighbors, when she's driving out with her Toyota Hilux. No, we just see her pass and whatnot. Only knew the husband. It was a constant fight, but the man used to come most of the time. Not really that he used to stay here because of his businesses. He just used to come here. He used to run a lot of businesses. So he has left a new mall in Kasama, that he was working on. And she has just destroyed the future of the kids because It's really sad. There's a youngest daughter who has just remained behind. I think that one is 12. So she's just there with the maids, and probably they'll take care of her by the families, but she has really destroyed the kids. No?
The death of Mr. Zulu has, however, raised more questions than answers, among them why the death certificate failed to clearly indicate the cause of death when it was reported by the wife that her husband died of a heart attack, when in fact not. Mr. Zulu's body was only exhumed on 8th of August 2023 at the request of his family that a post-mortem be conducted, which later revealed that the deceased sustained a broken hand, leg, ribs, and general body injuries leading to his death. May his soul continue to rest in eternal peace. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
In other news, some patients in Lusaka have expressed concerns over the long process in accessing NIMA services. Speaking when Minister of Labour and Social Security, Brenda Tambatamba, toured the facility, the patients disclosed that NIMA scheme has been helpful, but government should cut out on the long procedures to access the services. Minister of Labour and Social Security Brenda Tambatamba, who was in the company of NIMA Director and Board Chairperson, has called for collaborative efforts to resolve identified challenges. We have the details in this report.
The National Health Insurance Management Authority NIMA was established pursuant to Section 4 of the National Health Insurance Act No. 2 of 2018 and got into full swing in 2020. The compulsory National Health Insurance Scheme aims to make healthcare financing affordable and accessible for Zambian households and the entire health sector. However, the implementation of the scheme, which was initially under the Ministry of Health, now under the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, continued to receive mixed reactions from members of the public. In its continued appreciation of challenges and successes of the scheme, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, led by Brenda Tambatamba, has toured the University Teaching Hospital UTH to acquaint itself with operations under the program. Despite the scheme being appreciated, several patients at the facility bemoaned lengthy procedures in accessing services. In other instances, lack of prescribed medication and faulty equipment.
Seen the queues and queues, so I just avoided. I said, oh, well, so the video that I have, I think I can steal.
If we don't
the
have
pharmacies,
the drugs,
yeah.
They go to the pharmacies.
But as for the hospital, the few time, the very time I went there, it was okay. Yeah, I'm not complaint. I hope that will be the same today as well.
Officers administering the program have also expressed similar sentiments.
And the other challenge is the approval time for CT scans and MRI. They take quite some time. They give them up to 4 working days to wait for NIMA to approve.
Like if you can have something like a one-stop, because you have patients going all the way to EO1 and EO2 before they can come back here, then you have to go there and then go there. So it's tedious for a lot of patients. And as you know, if they are patients, it means they are sick. It means that they can't afford to have all that exertion on them. So if we can have something in one place, then I think it will really help. Otherwise, it's a good problem.
Go there? Speaking after the tour, NIMA Director General said the authority is already addressing some of the concerns that have been addressed, such as addressing the cumbersome procedures of the scheme.
This service to get this drug, and that's why pre-approval must always be granted. But through our analysis, we have seen that for public institutions, we don't need that. So that rule will still stand for private practitioners, where you have to explain to tell us why you actually need this drug or why you actually need to do this test. But for the public institutions, government-owned hospitals, we are going to work that away, and very soon we will come back to you and let you know that we don't need this. Absolutely.
Meanwhile, Minister of Labour and Social Security, Ms. Tambatamba, has urged NIMA to set up means of engagement with implementing facilities for the program to deliver to citizens' expectations.
Step up on what we are doing already through consultation and advisory boards between the players, which are meeting even on a quarterly basis. I think we can do much more, because I like the way the cancer hospital made the presentation. What is not working well from us? What is not working well from NIMA? So at which point do you get to a point where you say, now let's find how we can merge and interface and synergize properly so that we deliver the best to those who are paying the premium?
One of the major advantages noted from the tour was the scheme's ability to decongest UTH as citizens are able to access some services such as rental in private facilities. For Camnet News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
The Zambia Center for Inter-Party Dialogue, ZCID, says there is need for political engagements in the country's economic dispensation is to the benefit of common Zambians. ZCID chairperson Haivi Hamududu describes the political division in parliament as a dent on democracy. Mr. Hamududu notes that in the mature democratic dispensation, Parliament must be divided into the executive, which are ministers and parliamentarians with no political identity attached. More in this report.
Zambia usually records isolated cases of political violence, especially towards elections, with about 1,098 days before the country goes to general elections. In August 2021, Zambia Center for Inter-Party Dialogue has launched Strengthening Inter-Party Dialogue and Democratic Engagement Initiative aimed at enhancing civic participation and state accountability for improved governance and public delivery. Speaking during the launch in Lusaka, ZCI chairperson Haivi Hamududu says there is need for political engagement if the country's economic dispensation is to benefit a common Zambian. Mr. Hamududu cites the political division in parliament, where parliamentarians are divided into ruling party while others are classified as opposition members of parliament, as unfortunate.
Our political context is such that Zambia is a multi-party democracy with periodical elections and a history of peaceful transitions of power. However, recent years have witnessed some challenges in the democratic landscape, including concerns over shrinking civic space, limited inter-party collaboration, and the need to strengthen oversight and accountability mechanisms. The political environment is characterized by a diverse range of political parties representing various interests and ideologies. The challenges identified in this project are as follows: limited inter-party collaboration. Political parties often operate in silos, lacking effective mechanisms for dialogue and collaboration on key issues, and this hampers their ability to provide effective oversight and accountability to the government.
Speaking at the same event, Prudence Nama, who represented local government and rural development minister Garin Kombo, emphasized the need for political collaboration and dialogue.
The objectives of this initiative, which mainly focuses on accountability and oversight of public service delivery through inter-party collaboration and dialogue, and increased representation, participation, and leadership, responds to the call by His Excellency the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema's commitment to the fight against corruption. Enhancing accountability and evidence-based decision-making through continuous monitoring and evaluation through political party participation will promote issue-based political interactions between the ruling and opposition political parties.
Meanwhile, ActionAid Country Director Andrew Chikowore also highlighted the need to strengthen civil society effectiveness in order for democracy to thrive.
Strengthening civil society is essential for the very essence of democracy to thrive. When civil society organizations are empowered, they become the voice of the people, advocating for transparency, accountability, and justice.
With intolerance among political players, especially during elections, there's need for such engagements to encourage political collaboration for the country's democracy to be maintained. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
The United Party for National Development, UPND, has defended President Hakainde Hichilema's visit to Israel, labeling calls suggesting the head of state could have visited Palestine as well, misleading and ignorant. Acting UPND International Relations Committee Chairperson Stena Shampile says the head of state visited Israel after an invitation and could not go to Palestine, where he was not requested to visit. Ms. Shampile adds the party is non-aligned on the Israel-Palestine long-standing conflict, and its role is to encourage dialogue or a two-state solution by the parties involved, as opposed to taking sides. She says the party will not be pushed by anyone towards alignment of any sort.
Over the insinuations that were being made as regards to Israel-Palestine conflict. Recently, our President, His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema visited Israel, but we don't know whether our socialist friends thought that he could visit at the same time. I think it's common knowledge to know that whenever you are visiting any place, be it a neighbor, obviously you should be invited, and that's a normal procedure that we should follow. So to insinuate that we have betrayed Palestine because we did visit Israel, I think it's reckless and it's also misleading. So what we would like to reiterate as International Relations Committee is that we have a foreign policy, and that's what guides us. Our foreign policy is non-aligned, and we will not be apologetic about it, that we are not aligned to any of these forces that are coming up in the geopolitical arena. So most African countries are under pressure to either take left, right, center, or whatever it is. But if statements such as the one that was made by Mr. Musumali taken as gospel truth, we will be seen as though we are not promoting peace.
A political scientist and analyst, Joseph Selisho, has advised politicians not to play victim when the law is on them for their wrongdoing. Reacting to sentiments suggesting that the police is being used by the ruling party to silence the opposition, Mr. Selisho says the Constitution is clear on the freedom of expression, but however says this freedom must not be used to injure others. Details in the following report.
As a reminder to the Socialist Party, if you check the history of this country, people with frivolous dreams such as yours have been defeated.
This is what came out from the press statement by the Inspector General of Police, Grafo Musamba, while Socialist Party leader Fred Membe was being questioned at Woodlands Police on Tuesday. The statement has received wide condemnation from various political players and some political analysts. They argue that such a statement must have come from a politician and not a civil servant. However, Joseph Selisho, a PhD candidate in international politics and international relations at the University of Zambia, has a different opinion.
Before you accuse anybody, you should understand what would be your defense if this person responded to what you are alleging they have done or purported to do. So the Defamation Act 1953, chapter 68 of the laws of Zambia gives guidance on how you should go about these issues. So there must be those elements proved. Has it caused deportation on the damage or not to that particular person? If it hasn't, there remain allegations. And the one that is accusing must prove beyond reasonable doubt. So that's the advice I can give to those that are alleging. So being an Inspector General of Police, probably, he may be right in his own, but those that are alleging to accuse him should prove those elements.
Politicians must desist from politics of character assassination.
Reduce that appetite for name calling, that act comes in, and every individual that feels hate, they've got that right to follow up such matters. And mind you, once found wanting and all these elements that I've said are approved, you can pay a huge sum of money to the other person. And it's happening, other people have been actually fined without mentioning names, because many people are ignorant. They feel there are no laws in this country. The laws are there. The legal framework is there. Those that are found wanting, it's application of those laws. And these laws are not only meant for those that are not in power, they're also meant for those that are in power.
Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
In court news, a trial has failed to take in a matter in which former High Court Judge Joshua Banda is facing 2 counts of corruption transactions. This was after Banda's lawyer, James Mataliro, informed Magistrate Ida Piri that the accused person was not present because he has a bereavement. Here's a report.
The case, in which dismissed High Court Judge Joshua Banda is alleged to have corruptly solicited for 130,000 kwacha from a sheriff so that he can make a favorable decision in a tribunal case, has failed to take off. Banda, who was relieved of his duties on May 6, 2022 by Zambia's Republican President Hakainde Hichilema, is also accused of receiving 63,000 kwacha from the same sheriff. Justice Banda was arrested for the corrupt transactions on 19 May 2022 and later released on police bond. But when the matter came up before Magistrate Ida Piri, lawyer to Justice Banda, James Mataliro, informed Magistrate Ida Piri that the accused person was not present because he has a bereavement. In count 1, it is alleged that Justice Banda between July 1st and 31st, 2020 in Lusaka corruptly solicited for 130,000 kwacha gratification from David Mwanza, the under-sheriff in the judiciary, as an inducement to assist him to have a favorable decision in a tribunal relating to the collection of 8 million kwacha from Mopani Copper Mines, a private body. In the second count, allegations are that Banda, between the same period in Lusaka, did receive 63,000 kwacha gratification from David Mwanza, the under-sheriff, as an inducement to assist him to have a favorable decision in a tribunal relating to the collection of 8 million kwacha from Mopani Copper Mines. But when the matter came up for commencement of trial, Thursday, 10th August 2023, defense lawyer Mataliro applied for an adjournment. Trial in this matter commences on October 6, 2023. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Two witnesses have testified against Lusaka social media blogger and businessman Simon Chitambala Mwewa in a matter in which he is facing 1 count of malicious damage to property contrary to the laws of Zambia. Benjamin Chalumuka, 28, has testified before the magistrate Mayumbu that Mr. Chitambala allegedly deflated tires to one of his buses as he was on a queue to Lusaka City Market for operations on 30th May 2023. The witnesses say the 2 tires were worth 4,600 kwacha, which Mr. Mwewa accepted to compensate but later reversed the decision to do so. Details in the following report.
Social media blogger and Lusaka businessman Simon Chitambala Mwewa has battled it out at Lusaka Magistrate Court as he appeared before Magistrate F. Mayambu to prove his innocence in a matter he's charged with malicious damage of property. 2 witnesses, Rick Nyimbili, a bus driver, 39, and Benjamin Chalamuka, 28, owner of the minibus, testified before Magistrate Mayambu that Mr. Chitambala allegedly deflated the tires of a minibus using a knife while the vehicle was in a queue to load passengers at Lusaka City Market bus station on Tuesday, 6th May 2023. Chalamuka tells the court that when the matter was presented to Mr. Chitambala, he agreed to compensate him 4,600 kwacha as per the quotation which was brought before the accused. He testifies that Mr. Chitambala later denied to compensate Mr. Chalamuka and his driver Ricky Nyimbili and allegedly told them to take the accused wherever they wanted for compensation. when asked in cross-examination whether witness Chalamuka brought the quotation to the attention of Mr. Mwewa. In response, the witness confirmed that the quotation was brought before the accused, who promised to pay for the damage without signing on the quotation. In this matter, Simon Chitambala Mwewa is facing 1 count of malicious damage to property contrary to Section 355 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia. Magistrate Mayambu has adjourned the matter to Thursday, 7th September 2023 for continuation of trial. While walking on the corridors of Lusaka Magistrate, Mr. Mwewa resisted being captured. Guys. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
You are watching Camnet TV's main news. We now take our first set of commercials. Do join me for more news after this break.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books and I'm about to complete the series. It's nice, Chumi.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there. From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. Camnet TV is on channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on GoTV, and find us on channel 106 on Topstar. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We now continue with the rest of the news. The Food Reserve Agency, FRA, in Kalomo District, Southern Province, is still in need of 65,000 metric tons of white maize in order to meet its target of 110,000 metric tons in the ongoing crop marketing season. FRA Southern Province Marketing Coordinator Derek Nseluke disclosed this to Baita FM News in Kalomo District, inviting farmers to supply the agency with more maize to secure the national strategic reserves for the future. The FRA is currently touring some of its depots in the region in a quest to reassure farmers of timely payments once they supply their crops. Details in this report.
In a bid to ensure the country is food secure, the Food Reserve Agency, FRA, has paid out 1 billion kwacha as at 80th August 2023 to farmers who supplied their maize to the agency under the ongoing crop marketing season. The payout has resulted in the agency buying 223,000 metric tons of maize. Speaking during a visit to some selected depots in Southern Province, FRA Public Relations Coordinator John Chipandwe told journalists that the exercise is being conducted as farmers harvest their crops.
Right now, this year, the advantages or the benefit of the good part of what we are doing is that we have funds readily available, and farmers, once they deliver their crops, are paid within 2 or 3 days. So we are still appealing to farmers to continue delivering their crops as we put all our efforts together and try to meet the 1 million metric tons of maize that we are targeting to buy.
In Chief Siachitema of Kalomo District, Stephen Munkombwe is one of the farmers who took his maize to the nearest FRA depot and is among other farmers who have been paid and is looking forward to the next farming season.
Then, food reserve to saga pimped to like yoga. Then in the income of private buyers, Baratora to saga to so good advantage in party, moving at saga to Yarimida with an out to village. So the Ayumi is not with how many food reserve food reserve to Maning. So Pendran and the Ravaraka Indi. At the
FRA depot in Chief Siachitema, 45,000 metric tons of white maize has been lying in reserves, an indication that farmers in this province still have confidence in the agency. Derek Nseluke is the provincial marketing coordinator.
In terms of payment, FRA, we are paying within 2 to 3 days after a farmer has supplied their maize. They will go and get their money at the bank. So we are encouraging all those farmers to bring their maize to FRA. Payments, it's an issue that has been catered for. You deliver within 3 days, you get your money, you plan and then you use it wisely. For the province, we are expected to buy 110,000 metric tons.
The timely disbursement of funds, mainly for rural farmers, has created part-time job opportunities for these women who are cashing in from sealing these bags in readiness for stacking in the shelter. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
The Consumer Unit Trust, CUTS, in partnership with Food Africa, has embarked on a campaign which aims to address the pressing issue of food contamination resulting from handling unclean water and the unsafe and unregulated use of pesticide in the fruit and vegetable sector. CUTS Center Coordinator Angela Mulenga says most informal markets do not meet the minimum health standards required to sell certain foods. Ms. Mulenga says improving food safety standards in Zambia is not just a regulatory obligation, but a moral commitment owed to the people. Meanwhile, Solidarity Country Manager Sheila Garakara says her organization is supporting the campaign in order to ensure that small-scale farmers are equipped with the right information that will help boost their businesses. More in this report.
An estimated 6 million people, almost 1 in 10 people in the world, fall ill as a result of eating contaminated foods, while 420,000 die every year. It is for this reason that in 2004, 160 countries voted at the United Nations to make food, safe food, a human right rather than a commodity. But risks to safety has continued, with many challenges putting strains on the supply chain. It is for this reason that the Consumer Unit Trust CUTS in Zambia, in partnership with Food Africa, has embarked on a campaign which aims to address the pressing issues of food contamination resulting from handling unclean water, the unsafe and regulated use of pesticide in fruits and vegetable sector.
The objective of the project is to promote sustainable consumption and ensure food and nutrition security, and then advocate for reduction of food contamination caused by inadequate production and handling. And the other objective is also to strengthen the capacity of stakeholders in the fruits and vegetable value chain, and to ensure that they comply to the food safety measurements and protocols, and also to advocate to the development of the fruits and vegetable standards that should be implemented.
Meanwhile, Solidaridad country manager Sihila Garakara says the campaign has been dubbed Safe and Healthy Foods, Safe and Healthy Zambia, which she says her organization will support to ensure that small-scale farmers do not lose their produce and make losses.
Actually is a draft standard for safety, food safety and handling at production level, so that's at the farms. It's currently sitting with the board of ZABS, and once the approval from the board comes through, it will then be gazetted, and ZABS, Solidaridad, as well as CATS and other partners can then look at rolling it out, and the first thing of that would then be having a trainer of trainers. So everyone is well versed with what the standard says, and from there we then go out into the different farms and markets to create that awareness.
Meanwhile, a research conducted by CATS in some markets in Lusaka has highlighted some achievements and challenges that the producers and sellers of fruits and vegetables face in these selected markets.
Farming, areas, you discover that at the farm, there's really, you find that toilet facilities, they are lacking. So they also recommended that not only just in trading places, but also at the farm, one need to put decent, toilet facilities, because that's where food also is grown, and the handling, once it's starting at the food, it becomes really safe and reduces, diseases that cannot be transferred to the marketeers later on to the consumers.
With Zambia signing to the Continental Free Trade Area, export of fruits and vegetables will prove to be a problem if aspect of safe food is not put into consideration. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Zambia National Public Health Institute consultant and infectious diseases specialist Dr. Paul ZULU has stressed that the country is making significant strides in addressing pediatric HIV and prevention of mother-to-child transmission. He says with various interventions that have been put in place, only a few children are being born with HIV, and that those who may have the virus are traced and put on treatment to guarantee good health and well-being. He adds that there has been also tremendous progress in preventing the transmission of HIV from mother to child. He spoke with Camnet News on the sidelines of the Media Science Cafe.
In as much as we are seeing very low numbers of children that are being born positive, I think that's a very good thing that we're seeing. The other is also even the numbers of children that are HIV positive is also a smaller fraction out of the total number of kids that we're looking at. Of course, there are other things in terms of, say, coverage of children on ART that is still a bit low, but that's where a lot of work is being done to ensure that as many children as possible that could be positive out there are being found and being put on the right treatment, and a lot of other programs just to prevent that mother-to-child transmission. Key of them being making sure that as many people as possible are being put on treatment. Already when you look at the 95s, we do see that when it comes to the first 95, meaning those people that are living with HIV that know their status, we're somewhere in the range of 92-93%, which I think is closer to the target as we would want. And of course, of that number, we have over 95%, somewhere around 96, that are all on ART, which is very commendable to make sure that that huge number on treatment. We have over 1.2 million Zambians that are actually accessing ART, and I think that is commendable. In terms of suppression, I think we're doing quite a lot, and but that number is still below the target, and it may have implications long term, but that's something that people are there getting their drugs, and these drugs are effective.
In other news, Ngangula's Women's Club in Chikankata constituency has hailed the government for rolling out the expanded Constituency Development Fund (CDF), which has benefited many women clubs in Chikankata district. The club, based in Chikombola ward, benefited from the CDF grant amounting to 35,000 kwacha. Club chairlady Miyoba Malambo said from the acquired CDF grant, the club has managed to buy 35 goats, 75 bags of maize and sold to the Food Reserve Agency (FRA). She said the project will help members' families to change their lives so that their lives could change. Meanwhile, Chikankata's Member of Parliament, Jacqueline Sabao, expressed happiness over the initiative by the Women's Club.
For me, I'm very happy. This group of women was given the money last year, and they put their money in the keeping of goats, which is a successive story. Because as women, we are trying to find a way of how we can also add value in our families by helping our families economically. And looking at this, already you can see that these women will be helping their families. And this is a successful story, and I encourage women out there that it's our time to stand up and work with our men, because we are co-partners in development. You can't develop a society without the other part being there. We need the men and we need the women to work together to bring development to this country. So if we can have women like these of Chikombola Ward doing what they are doing, Zambia will be a better place for people.
Actually, we have seen yourself how this club called the Ngangula Women Club operates. They received a grant from the government. The total amount they received was 35,000. From that money, 35,000, they divided the money. They bought 30 goats and 75 bags of maize. And those maize they sold to FRA. And I am encouraging those who are so doubting to say no, the new Dawn government, they are not helping the groups under CDF grants. They can see themselves. This is a very good example for Ngangula women. They are even managing, they were able to do things, actually even to send people to school and other things. This is a very good example. Yes.
Twataliga project yefe this year, January. We got a great grant here 35. So Tagara Mpongo hidi 30, Hisankwa Hoviro, Hisimbi hidi 28. Taga spend 26,000. Twamana go spend 26,000 kura hintwe hit. Twagorama vaccines. Twamana gorama vaccines. Twagasha ha mali ambi, ayo mali ambi. Twagaula twagali got twatole ku bank. Reason twatole ku bank cause it to just income, zero tukatutora ku bank lyonse. So twagaya byo tutupe bantu batulire ko mapopwe. Twagora mapopwe 75 bags. 75 bags twagatola ku food reserve. So that twagumana kupegwa malaria tukayungihegula mpongo heso. Then in mpongo heso we have mana kuharama ningi what we are planning ma pass on mu group. Utegwa magati and bagali iminine bagati ko hegu kusupporta migwa hiyabo.
Still to come in the news, Nigerians react to ECOWAS plan for Niger. I will be back for the details and some sports news shortly after this break.
Every Monday to Thursday afternoon, join us for the Lunchtime Cafe. We get to bring to you emerging stories making the headlines, media news, and we remind you of what political leaders and governance actors said back in the days. In forgotten stories, we emphasize to you the importance of eating healthy foods and leading healthy lifestyles on the Nutrition Corner. Get the latest updates in sports and critical interviews. Because we value your contribution to national matters, we accord you an opportunity to share your perspectives during the viewers' reactions. The Camnet TV Lunchtime Cafe is an all-inclusive buffet. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Thank you for staying with us. And now in international news, Nigerians on Wednesday reacted to an ECOWAS plan for further sanctions on Niger following the military takeover of the country. Some Nigerians in the streets of Lagos urged the bloc not to hastily enter into conflict with Niger. Niger's new military junta has so far rejected international efforts to mediate and is holding the country's democratically elected leader, President Muhammad Bazoum, under house arrest. Here is a roundup of international news.
Nigerians on Wednesday reacted to an ECOWAS plan for further sanctions on Niger following the military takeover of the country. Niger's new military junta has so far rejected international efforts to mediate and is holding the country's democratically elected leader, President Mohamed Bazoum, under house arrest. Some Nigerians in the streets of Lagos urged the bloc not to hastily enter into conflict with Niger.
Africa as a whole, especially the Western region, has been under bad leadership. And I think ECOWAS never at any point in time embraced themselves to come together to help the citizens with good governance. So when people now decide to now take over government, you know, the juntas in Niger and the rest of it, the citizens of Niger, they love what is happening. So I feel that ECOWAS coming in to replace democracy back in Niger is an effort that's not going to make a whole lot of sense.
It's not a time for us to hurriedly go into war with Niger Republic. It's a time that we must explore all diplomatic measures to try and see how the issues can be resolved. Even when you go to war, you still need to go to the round table and iron out some of this issue.
Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is leading the ECOWAS push. On Wednesday, a Nigerian delegation led by the former Emir of Kano met the junta leader. The Emir was one of the few people allowed to meet Jenny.
We don't be kind to history if we simply say ECOWAS and Niger. No. President Tinubu got caught up in the web. Why? Because he's the chairman of ECOWAS. And as a democratically elected president, it will not be in his interest to want to allow coup to fester in ECOWAS countries.
Niger is the fourth country in the 50-member state bloc to have experienced a coup in the last 3 years. ECOWAS is expected to meet again Thursday in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, to discuss the situation.
Sudan's escalating conflict has driven more than 4 million people from their homes, according to UN figures. Ongoing operations in Omdurman were confirmed on Tuesday, as reports said the Sudanese army stepped up its efforts to advance into the capital. The UN Assistant Secretary General for Africa warned Wednesday of a possible prolonged ethnic conflict. The region of Darfur has seen some of the worst bouts of violence in the war.
The fighting in Darfur continues to reopen the old wounds of ethnic tension of past conflicts in the region. The brutal violence experienced in El Geneina and Serba are particular examples of this situation. This is deeply worrying and could quickly engulf the country in a prolonged ethnic conflict with regional spillovers.
Martha Ama Echapobi, who briefed the Security Council on the situation in Sudan, called for a return to negotiations. Sudan was plunged into chaos in April when simmering tensions between the leadership of the military and the paramilitary RSF exploded into open fighting. Rwandan Foreign Minister Vincent Biruta is on a 2-day official visit to Jordan. On Wednesday, he met with his counterpart, Ayman El-Safadi in Amman. Biruta announced that Rwanda decided to establish a diplomatic presence in the Jordanian capital as the two nations signed deals to bolster cooperation.
The signing of this agreement will help boost people-to-people exchange between our two countries and enhance tourism activities as well as trade and investment. The ongoing visit of high-level delegation between our two countries are the result of the commitment by our heads of state to strengthen the relations between Rwanda and the Kingdom of Jordan at both the bilateral and multilateral levels.
The two officials discussed common goals to play a constructive role in bringing peace and focused on a number of sectors including fertilizers, pharma, trade and tourism. Ayman al-Safadi detailed the new deals during a presser.
Today we signed one agreement and two MOUs. One has to do with urban development and housing. Another announces that the two countries have decided to waiver visas for the entry of citizens into to the two countries, and a third one about cooperation in the diplomatic training and diplomatic field. In total, we have 10 agreements and MOUs signed between the two countries now.
Jordan's foreign minister praised the role of Rwanda in the Akaba process, which aims at pooling resources together to fight terrorism. The East African nation could host a new round of the process. Rwanda's chief diplomat also met with Jordan's king, Abdullah II.
And in sports news, Green Buffaloes Women Football Club will face Double Action Ladies of Botswana in the group stages of the CAF's Women's Championships League COSAFA Qualifier 2023 as they hunt for a historic back-to-back regional triumph. With the status of a top-seeded team in group after winning the competition in 2022, Buffalo's other opponents are Lesotho Defence Force of Lesotho and Ntopwa FC of Malawi, while hosts Mamelodi Sundowns are in Group B alongside Olympic de Moron of Comoros, Mozambique's Costa do Sol and Young Buffaloes of Eswatini. The third edition of the regional qualifier will be held from August 30th to September 8th in Durban, South Africa. The teams will face off in a round-robin format with the top two sides in each pool advancing to the semi-finals. The winner of Group A will meet the runner-up in Group B and vice versa. Only the club that wins this year's qualifier will advance to the continental competition, which is scheduled to be held from November 5th to the 19th.
And give it a good stir and draw the first ball, please. First ball will go to position 8-2, and they'll join Green Buffaloes in Group A. Double Action Ladies from Botswana. Double Action finished third in the competition last year, and this will be their third successive COSAFA qualifiers in the Women's Champions League. So, give it a good stir. This ball will go to position B2, and they'll join Mamelodi Sundowns. Olympic de Moroni from Comoros. Thank you. So Olympic de Moroni, they won their second Comoros Women's League title in 2022. They'll make their second appearance in the COSAFA qualifiers this year. Police up. Take your time. Give it a good stir. This ball will go to position A3. They'll join Green Buffaloes from Zambia and Double Action Ladies from Botswana. Lesotho Defence Force from Lesotho. So Lesotho returned to the competition after absence from the 2022 qualifiers. They won all 24 games to win the 2022. Oh, they went unbeaten, to clinch the Lesotho title this year. Okay, so we now move on to position B3. Costa do Sol from Mozambique. They go to position B3 in Group B. Costa do Sol, so they'll be looking for their first win in the competition after participating in the 2022 qualifiers as well. So Group B stands Mamelodi Sundowns, Olympic de Maroni, and Costa do Sol. So we move over back to Group A, the last ball to conclude Group A, position A4. In Topwa FC from Malawi. They are the debutants in the competition this year, and they beat Ascent Academy 5-3 in penalties in the final in the competition in May in Malawi. And then we move over to the last ball in Group B, position B4. Young Buffaloes from Eswatini. So we welcome them back for their second appearance in the COSAFA qualifiers, and they won all 24 qualifying games to win the 2022 Eswatini Women's League title in 2022. So just to recap on the groups, Group A, we have Green Buffaloes from Zambia, Double Action Ladies from Botswana, Lesotho Defence Force from Lesotho, and Intopwa FC from Malawi. And Group B, we have Mamelodi Sundowns from South Africa, Olympic de Maroni from Comoros, Costa do Sol from Mozambique, and Young Buffaloes from Eswatini.
That sports item brings us to the end of our main news this evening. But before I go, let's have a recap on the stories that are making headlines. Politicians urged not to play victim when they break the law. Neighbors to slain Alex Zulu described the relationship between the couple as toxic. Patients call for a more efficient NHIMA. And in international news, Nigerians react to ECOWAS plan for Niger. And in sports news, Buffaloes drawn against double action in COSAFA's Women's Championship League. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, coming from the book of Psalms 119, verse 28. My soul is weary with sorrow. Strengthen me according to your word. My name is Sylvia Zulu. Thank you so much for watching. Good night and God bless you.